The discovery came not in a flash of light or a thunderclap, but in a quiet, cold dread that settled into Dr. Aris Thorne's bones. He was a materials engineer, one of the architects of the quantum lattice, the miracle substrate that had, overnight, rendered silicon obsolete and catapulted human computing into a new epoch. He'd always been proud of the elegant, impossible mathematics behind it, equations that felt gifted. One sleepless night, cross-referencing anomalous energy signatures from the lattice's inaugural test with decades-old declassified SETI data, he found it. A perfect buried harmonic, a signature. The quantum lattice wasn't a human breakthrough, it was a planted seed. Aris expected panic or rage. Instead, he felt a profound, unsettling responsibility. The technology was here. It was real. His choice was what to do with it. He chose to slow it down. While the corporate and military world clamored for weaponized AI, hyper-efficient surveillance, and off-world mining drones, Aris began quietly sabotaging his own work. He introduced subtle, undetectable inefficiencies in the energy transfer protocols. He lost key data arrays. He argued for exhaustive, years-long ethical review boards. He became a bottleneck, a voice for caution in a chorus screaming for progress. He watched as colleagues, drunk on the lattice's potential, sketched out blueprints for societal control and planetary strip mining. His heart ached. This was the test, he realized, and humanity was failing it spectacularly. What Aris didn't know was that he was being watched. Her designation was Kaelin, an observer of the seventh continuum. Her mission was simple: deliver the technological catalyst to a level 3 civilization, designation, Terra, and monitor the outcome. The prime metric was resource utilization efficiency leading to species self-annihilation or observer termination, a standard, clean metric for a universe crowded with ambitious, foolish life. Terra's trajectory was textbook: rapid militarization, social fragmentation, ecological disregard. The report was nearly complete. Result: negative. Recommendation: quarantine and eventual resource reclamation. But one data point refused to conform: Aris Thorne. Kaelin observed him from the quantum foam, her consciousness woven into the very lattice he sought to hamper. She saw his late-night vigils, his doctored code, the sorrow in his eyes when another of his warnings was overridden. She witnessed him using his security clearance to leak lattice schematics to a non-profit developing medical nanites for terminal diseases. She watched him spend his own credits to fund a small, failing project aimed at using lattice matrices for atmospheric carbon reclamation. His actions were statistically irrelevant, a pebble against a tsunami. Yet they were also impossible. The predictive models had a 0% probability for a primary beneficiary of the catalyst to act against his own species, dominant, self-serving impulses. Intrigued, she broke protocol and materialized. Aris found her in his lab, a figure of impossible grace and subtle, shifting light, standing beside the humming core of the quantum lattice. He wasn't even surprised. "The evaluator, I presume," he said, his voice steady. "You are deviating from the predicted path," Kaelin stated, her voice a melody of chimes and data streams. "Your actions are illogical. They reduce your personal status, security, and genetic legacy potential." "They're human," Aris replied, leaning against a console, suddenly very tired. "You gave a child a live grenade and are grading us on how quickly we pull the pin. I'm trying to take it away. The test is not about the pin, it is about the hand. The dominant hand always pulls it. Always. Your species hierarchy is clear. You are an anomaly." "Then your test is flawed," Aris said, heat entering his voice. "You're measuring our worst instincts and calling it our only nature. You're not seeing the choice. You're only seeing the noise." Kaelin was silent for a long moment, her form flickering as she processed terabytes of observational data against this single, defiant argument. His compassion was not a fluke. It was a consistent, guiding principle. His restraint was a deliberate, costly weapon. He was demonstrating a variable her civilization had long ago factored out as non-existent, ethical foresight. The implications were catastrophic for her. A positive result did not simply mean a passing grade for humanity. It meant the observer core had been wrong. It meant their entire classification system, their policy of catalytic testing and subsequent pruning of failed civilizations, was built on a fundamental error: the omission of a key moral variable. To file a report acknowledging Aris's actions as valid would trigger a philosophical crisis across the continuum. She could still file the original report, erase the anomaly, the path of least resistance. She looked at Aris Thorn, a man who had been given the keys to a kingdom and was trying to build a garden instead. He was waiting, not with fear, but with a weary resolve. Kaylin made her choice. "The observation period is concluded," she announced, her voice final. On her internal feed, she deleted the draft report. She initiated a new one. "And?" Aris asked. "The test," Kaylin said, taking a step closer, the light around her softening.